Hey guys, your eyes are not deceiving you. It is Friday at 7 p.m., not Tuesday. And this episode was not even planned, so there's not going to be a lot of media that I'm going to be showing, even though I'm going to show a couple of things because I didn't have a lot of time to put something together, but I could not stay silent after I saw this. As upset now as I was when I first saw it. Someone sent it to me, and I thought that I would calm down after giving myself a little bit of time, but I have not. And again, I cannot stay silent about this. So I'm going to show a clip in just a second, and we're going to talk about it briefly. And I'm going to talk about all of the reasons why what is being said is not funny. It should not be made a mockery of, and that it is a serious problem throughout the world at this point in time. So, on Tuesday's episode of Rod Parsley's podcast, it was he and his daughter, Ashton, and Debra George. And Debra George has long time been connected with World Harvest Church. She claims to be a street evangelist, and she's known for going out into some of the roughest neighborhoods and areas that in lots of cities, and will go up to anybody and just ask to pray with them or if they are saved, which, is there really is that necessarily a problem? I would say the because I know her, yes, it is a problem because there is no compassion. It is not being done because they actually care about people and care about their souls. They are worried about counting numbers so they can report back to Rod Parsley how many souls got saved, so then they can preach about it and boast about it on Sunday, which is exactly what they did. So in this clip that I'm going to show you, and guys, I'm not even really looking at the comments because I'm trying to stay on track here as much as possible. But I'll try in a moment. But um, they did this podcast. They talked about these druggies, and you're going to see the clip. And at the end they said, and they got born again right there on the spot. Well, then just 5 days later, Rod's bragging about all these souls that they helped save on the streets of Columbus. But the reason why none of them are there is because nobody in the congregation volunteered to go pick them up. And that's actually going to be on this upcoming Tuesday's podcast. That would have been this week, and I postponed it because of some other things. So we're going to talk about that and the mockery and the exploitation of people that are in this class of people that are homeless, that are addicted, that they are hungry, they in several different ways, I'm sure, spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially, all of the things. And I am all for people getting saved, getting treatment, but what Debra George, what World Harvest Church, what these people are doing, this is not true compassion and care for people and making sure that they are getting resources, that they are being loved on, cared for, and treatment, whatever needs to be done. They just talk to people, pray for them, and then they start marking tally marks of all these people that are getting saved. So I'm going to show this clip, and I'm probably going to show it a couple of times, but the more I see it, the more angry I get. So if you see a little bit different side of me tonight, that's probably the reason why.
With you,
Yes, we
you know,
did.
And then we like did a break for lunch, and you said, well, can I just go on ahead to the neighborhood? I want to check it out. I want to, which you always like to do, get a lay of the land.
And so when we pulled up, the people that were druggies came up and they said, are y'all here to open up a meth lab? And I said, yes, we are. And it's going to be the best meth you've ever had. And his name is Jesus Christ.
Yep.
And they both got born again on the spot.
What is funny? What is funny about that? I'm going to talk about some things here in a minute, but what is funny about that? Have you been ever addicted to drugs, especially meth? Have you had family members or friends that have been addicted? It is no laughing matter, and I'm already getting teary-eyed because I'm so angry about this. I cannot believe, well, I don't know why I keep saying that. Why can't I believe that these people act this way? Why can't I believe that? Well, I feel like they just sink to new lows. And you guys, this not only was said, okay, on their podcast, okay, but they thought it was so good that the clip that I just showed you, that's what they're using to promote this episode that they did. And I am so disgusted by this and just absolutely fuming mad that, again, I had to come on and talk about it. So, at first I thought, well, maybe they're oblivious. Maybe they're oblivious to this. But no, I think they're just evil. I don't think they're oblivious, because you know why? When Rod Parsley talks about his sister Debbie, that after she was in that car accident, that she was so pumped full of Demerol, and that she was getting boxes and boxes of Demerol from the hospital because she was in so much pain. And he would talk about that she would stick these needles in her legs, and there would be blood all over the place and medicine just squirting out other holes of her legs. And he talks about this because he claims that his his sister got healed in 1979, which is an absolute lie. She continued to be drug addicted until she passed away at like 52 years old. Okay. So, and it wasn't a laughing matter then. It's not a laughing matter now. When Rod Parsley was told about his daughter, Ashton, who's on the podcast, laughing right along with them about her being taped snorting cocaine, he was not laughing. Joni was not laughing. They were upset about it. But they're going to laugh at druggies and joke about people being on meth. And I have several reasons for being upset. First and foremost, I'm a recovering addict. I was not hooked on meth, but I did do it several times, and I did not like it. But I was not, when I was a teenager, I was not someone that was really, discriminating against what I was putting in my body, as long as it was helping me escape reality. Okay. But I have someone very close to me that was hooked on meth, and I'm going to tell you about that in just a second, and hopefully I don't completely disclose, because I'm not, sometimes when I go live and I go on tangents, I start saying names when I didn't mean to say them. So meth was not my drug of choice, but there were several that were. And getting pregnant and rededicating my life saved my life. And the Lord, although not easy, took a lot of those pains away from me. And I didn't feel like I needed to escape reality anymore. And I did have to go get treatment several times. And I did have to go to counseling for years. But Jesus did come into my life, and he changed my life for the better. And I did have a desire to spend time with him. I didn't have a desire for the drugs anymore. And I'm so grateful for that. But if I'm being honest, at that point in time, it was, I can be honest about it now. At that point, it was more because I was trying to be the best mom that I could be to my son. I still did not have a lot of self-worth. Even in rededicating my life at that point, I did not have a lot of self-worth. So had it not been for my son, I may have fallen back into using drugs. Okay. I know that now. I probably knew that then, but by God's grace and having people around me that cared about me, that was one of the main reasons I believe that I can sit here today and have this conversation and not be ashamed of my past. Okay. Some people are not so lucky though. And when I see people making jokes about this stuff as if it's the funniest thing that they've ever heard, it enrages me because it almost took my life. It almost took people's lives around me. And I can tell you that it is only God's grace that myself, some family members, friends are not in that vicious cycle anymore of trying to find the next fix and trying to escape reality. So, I want to talk about someone very close to me, so close that this person, if they had to sacrifice themselves for me, they would. This person, I'm trying not to get too emotional, you guys, but I cannot believe that so-called Christian ministers would be on a podcast joking about something so serious. Someone very close to me was addicted to meth for over 10 years, crack as well, but meth was probably the worst addiction. And I watched him go from a vibrant, loving, just excited to be alive person to crawling around on the floor trying to see if there was rocks and drugs in the carpet that he could find. I watched him steal from his mother. I watched him steal from anyone that he could. I found myself putting my my purse, any valuables that I had when he was around, putting those up because I was worried that he was going to steal from me. And it affected our relationship very negatively. There were nothing good that came out of it until one night. And I'm going to tell you that in a minute. But this person was in and out of jail, in and out of rehabs, ruining every relationship, especially with the people that loved him. And he told me, there was a night that he had been on a bender of meth for days. And he was in a hotel room because, he would get so paranoid when he would use that he didn't want other people around and other people to see him. And he said that he was laying in that hotel room and, he couldn't sleep, of course, but just just tweaking out on meth. And he said that was the first time in his life that he felt like the presence of the Lord left him. And he felt like he got the closest glimpse of what hell would actually be like, with the presence of the Lord being completely gone. He could not feel him. He felt completely alone. And in that moment, he got on his knees, and the Lord saved him that night. And he has not touched it again. And we have a relationship again. And that was, 15 years ago. Okay. So this has been quite some time, and it's still very emotional because I saw someone that I knew and loved turn into a monster, turn into somebody that I did not know. And now we have a relationship again. We can talk about the Bible. We can talk about our relationship with God. We can talk about everything that the Lord saved us from. And to see, again, these so-called ministers of the gospel and go on a podcast and make fun of druggies and meth addicts like it's the funniest thing, like they're doing stand-up comedy, about sent me through the roof. And again, I'm emotional for several reasons, but this is not something to laugh about. It is not something to joke about. And it certainly should not be something that you're using to promote your podcast by talking about druggies and meth addicts. And I can assure you that I hope they did surrender their lives to Christ, and I hope that they never want to touch a drug again. But the fact of the matter is that I don't believe Debra George. I don't believe Rod Parsley. I don't believe Ashton Parsley. I don't believe anything that comes out of their mouth. If their lips are moving, you can pretty much count on the fact that they are lying. Okay. And they want these numbers so that they can boast and inflate themselves when they get up in these pulpits. But they're not, they didn't worry about going back down there and making sure that those people that had supposedly given their lives to Christ, that they were able to come to church, that they were able to have resources, that they were introduced to people that might help them get off the streets, that might help them in their addiction, that might help them in their walk with God. They're not doing any of that. This is all what Debra George, Rod Parsley, Ashton Parsley, what they do it for show. They do it for the accolades. They do not do it because they love people. They have compassion for people. And according to them, they've been through similar situations, and it wasn't funny, but they can sure hoop and holler and laugh it up when they're talking about these poor folks that they're coming into contact with. And I'm just going to play it for you again. I'm going to play this clip again because I just still where's the heart? Where is the compassion? Where is the love for God's people? Whether they look like you, dress like you, have everything that you have, what about them? Why are we using them and exploiting them and then laughing about it?
A training with you.
Yes, we did.
And then we did a break for lunch, and you said, well, can I just go on ahead to the neighborhood? I want to check it out.
Yes.
I want to, which you always like to do, get a lay of the land.
And so when we pulled up, the people that were druggies came up and they said, "Are y'all here to open up a meth lab?" And I said, "Yes, we are." And it's going to be the best meth you've ever had. And his name is Jesus Christ. Yep. And they both got born again on the spot.
Liars. And again, I know that the Lord is miraculous in power. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but Debra George, Rod Parsley, Ashton Parsley, they're liars. And I would assure you that these people that they're coming into contact with, they are not being cared for or shepherded, because they don't even do that for the people that are already in their congregation that are giving them all of their money and Social Security. They don't even shepherd and guide and love and have compassion for those people. So why would they for people that are homeless, druggies, as they would like to call them? Why would they have any love and compassion for them? And just to put a pin in this, okay? I've shown this before, but this is a waiver and release of liability that they have the Valor Christian College students sign off on. And as you can see at the top, it says Debra George Outreach. And they have to sign off on this, and you can look at it completely. But it's basically saying that they're going to go out on these excursions that might involve risk of serious bodily injury, including permanent disability or even death. And that when they sign off on this, they cannot sue or hold World Harvest Church or Valor Christian College liable for anything. But they are going, and I will also say, when they go out into these neighborhoods, Debra George, because they've got a camera in everybody's face, if they were doing this because they actually cared, first of all, they wouldn't have to boast about it. But secondly, they wouldn't have to put cameras in everybody's face so they can get everything on camera about what they're doing, and they're saying these prayers with people, and saying that these people are getting saved, sanctified, and delivered on the spot. And then the next day you see them slumped over somewhere because nobody did anything that actually were caring for these people. They are doing it again. It's all for show, and it's disgusting. And as you can see, it has made me very upset because I've experienced it personally. Not only my own story, but I have family members and friends that have lived this life. They've been these people on the streets that are homeless, that are drug addicts, and they're just waiting for their next fix. And they're in basically the depths of hell. Okay. And they've got these people just walking around putting cameras in their face to exploit the very thing that is keeping them away from God, and most likely is just a symptom of what's really going on in their heart and in their head because of years of abuse or whatever the case is. So, the church should be a hospital for the broken, not a comedy show at the expense of these poor souls that they're coming into contact with. And I don't know if World Harvest will ever get that through their head that evangelism is a great thing, but it doesn't need to. Every movement doesn't need to be captured on camera. You don't need to have these inflated numbers of how many souls are being saved. It should really be about the care, the compassion, the love, and the desire to introduce the Lord and the gospel to anybody that might want to hear it, not just because you need something to talk about on Sunday at church. And I'm obviously not going to be on here much longer. But addiction is not entertainment. It is a matter of life and death. And I would venture to say that most of you that are watching, if you haven't personally experienced it, you know other people that have, and it will absolutely wreck families. It will, it puts almost a hole in your soul if it's somebody that's close to you that you love, because there's not much, unfortunately, that you can do if they don't want to help themselves except for pray for them. So in closing, addiction is not a joke. It's not something to laugh about over a podcast microphone while people's sons, daughters, husbands, and wives are fighting for their lives. The word of God is very clear. The Lord is near the brokenhearted and saves those crushed in spirit. Jesus himself said, "They that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick do." And that's in Matthew 9:12. So when leaders mock addicts, they aren't reflecting the heart of Jesus. They're reproaching the very maker who created them. They've become shepherds who fatten themselves while the sheep bleed out. But I refuse to stay silent. I refuse to let this church sound more like the Pharisees laughing at the cross than the Savior who stretched out his arms to save the hurting. If you've battled addiction, if you've buried someone that you love, or if you're still in the fight, hear me loud and clear. You are not a punchline. You are a person that God loves, and the gospel is for you. And to the leaders who laugh, judgment without mercy will be shown to anyone who has not been merciful. It's time to repent or step down. Rod, Ashton, Debra George. And I am going to put this on the bottom of the screen. Like I said, I didn't have hardly any time to put this together. I pulled a couple of clips and a couple of things to show, but this is a bare bones production tonight. The 988 is a suicide and crisis lifeline at the bottom of the screen. You can call or text that if you find yourself in need of help for drug addiction, for suicide, or if you are just in crisis, and they will be able to direct you to someone that can help you. And I just want to thank everyone for stopping in to check out what I was talking about tonight. I know it's not my normal night, but I also want to say, remember these people in prayer, even Rod and Ashton and Debra George, because they obviously have little to no fruits of the Spirit, and very much lacking in love and compassion. And but also pray for the family members and the sons and daughters and mothers and fathers that find themselves in these positions, that they not only get the help that they need, but they have a desire to move away from this lifestyle. They have a desire to have a relationship with the Lord. And if there's anything that you can do to be helpful in that way, that you extend that hand and that help out to them, because we do recover, we do survive, and the Lord has a plan for us. He has a plan for all of us, and I am grateful that I said yes to that many years ago. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And I will see you on Tuesday for the episode I didn't do this week. You don't want to miss it. We are talking about actually some of this, but also about the dark psychology that is used at World Harvest Church. So tune in. Have a great weekend, everybody. And again, thank you for stopping in to seeing this tonight. Have a good night.